Welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. We have got our lock forward edition of At the Table, going through and choosing the 4 best players from the NRL era for each position. We've gone through every other fucking position on the field in the last 2 weeks. Go and have a look at all those. I think there's 8 of them. There might be 7. I don't know, but this is the last one on the field. We will have a coach's one coming a little bit later, but lock forward. Another position, Matty, that I think has changed quite a bit over the last years. It sort of goes through phases, the lock forward role, whether it be an extra ball player, an extra middle forward. It's also just up to each team how they want to use it, which makes it a really, really difficult one.
Yeah, I think it changed very rapidly, like 6 maybe years ago.
Yeah,
just kind of like that. It all kind of changed at once when Yo and Murray and Radley is kind of like the ball playing. But still not every team does. Like Storm don't use it, for example. It's you're right. It's very much up to interpretation. So it does make it difficult. I will say though, some of my favourite players of all time are on this list for me.
Yeah, and I think like there's a lot of players that you could put in this list that who played other positions. Like, I've always said I think the best lock forward I've ever seen is Brad Fittler, but I'm not going to put him on this list because I just don't think that would fit. A lot of guys that have played a number of positions that, 13 was a spot they could play. I think here, well, me personally, I've sort of gone for guys who are proper 13s, played the majority of their career there. Maybe they spent a bit of time in the front row or on the edge, but I think these are the guys that I regard to be proper out-and-out jersey 13s. As I said, guys, when it comes to, 1998 onwards, some of these guys are in this, or that have been in this, across all this episodes over the last few days, are guys that, they might have had a big influence on the early 2000s, so what they did before 98 counts. And there's one guy who sort of fits into that category a little bit for me when it comes to this lock forward conversation, but the vast majority for me are from the last 20 years or so. Do you want to give us our first nomination, mate?
Yeah, I'll be honoured to, because he's my favourite player of all time, Sammy Burgess.
Yeah, right. I thought we were going down the Brad Fittler avenue.
Nah, Sam Burgess. He's
gave me nothing for that, and I deserve nothing for it.
Nah, in my opinion, there's no other forward in the history of the game that I'd rather on my team.
Yeah,
his effort on effort on effort is unbelievable, coupled with the incredible skill that he had.
Yeah.
A career cut short by how tough he is and how hard he plays the game. Yes, he sometimes spent time on the sidelines through injury or suspension, but that's just how he played, and he's literally an inspiration, and South don't go near that premiership without him. I may be biased. There could be better players, but there is no forward ever to play the game that I'd take over Sam Burgess.
Yeah, big call, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And as far as, he obviously played multiple positions throughout his time at the South Sydney Rabbitohs, front row, lock and second row. You could convince me on him having a conversation on the table for all those positions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think lock's by far and away, and his best spot. Edge would have been tough. Front row, I could hear it without a doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think where he won the premiership in 2014 in the lock forward role was sensational. I think his offload ability and just, you mentioned it, but just the physicality the fucker brought. Like, he was just from another planet.
I remember being at games and you'd see a player from a distance because he's sitting at Antis Stadium, you can't really see much. And you'd see someone make a really important tackle, you see someone smash someone, or you see someone getting up quick. It's always number 13, Sam Burgess. It's funny, I kind of have that same thing now with Cam Murray.
Yeah.
That 13 jersey for South, it's such a famous jersey with, John Sattler and Sam Burgess and the broken jaw and the broken cheekbone, and now Cam Murray wears it. If he wins a premiership, he'll just elevate it even further. Like, it's such a famous jersey. Sam Burgess is my favourite player of all time. I highly doubt anyone for the rest of my life is going to come close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tough to top Sammy Burgess.
He's just the man, seriously.
I'm sure you'll be the same. My earliest memory of Sam Burgess, I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm watching footy from over there in England at the end of season games. I'm pretty sure it was over in England, this game.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was when sort of Fui Moi Moi was at his peak and England dropped it out and Moi Moi returned it, and this teenager just came up and fucking poleaxed.
Flogged him.
Moi Moi. And this is when Moi Moi was the equivalent of Payne Haas. As dominant as he is now, that's what Moi Moi was like back then. I just remember watching this shot going, I think I just saw a dead body.
Yeah.
This is fucking full on. Who is this guy? Sam Burgess, he was one that had been rumoured to come to South Sydney a few months later. You hear Russell Crowe talk about, was it the man with the shine in his
The man
eye?
with the sparkly eye.
Yeah,
sparkly-eyed man.
Sparkly-eyed man. You're like, what the fuck does that mean? And
Yeah.
then he started to play. And, I think like the first few years, I just thought, okay, this guy's a bit of a lunatic. Is it going to add up to anything?
Yeah.
But then 2014, he announces he's going to Union at the end of the season. It's now or never. And all the stars just align. As you just mentioned, the broken jaw in the grand final, very similar to the great, late and great John Sattler. Just fucking incredible.
I remember in 2010, like he came over and just had like the most instant impact. And I think 2011, he may have got injured for the whole year. And then 2012, when Madge came, that's when he just took it to a whole new level. And he was incredible in 2012. He was even better in 2013. But I remember when he announced that he's leaving for rugby, I was devastated.
Yeah.
I was devastated because he was Souths were terrible when I was growing up, and it was the first time that they'd been good, and he was probably my first and only favourite player, and that devastated me, and it made the whole 2014 grand final so much more critical because win, lose or draw, he's gone.
Yeah.
And without him, we're not winning nothing.
Yep.
And that's what made it so equally critical, but it made it so special at the same time. When he announced he was coming back, it was honestly one of the top 5 days of my life. Honestly, it was so special. He's just an inspiration. Anyone who's ever played with him, you just hear him talk so glowingly about Sam Burgess.
I think for me as well, that 2014 grand final, like I remember being out there and, when you're out at a game and it's the grand final like that, and you got, the jaw happened there was just this whisper getting around the field of what had actually occurred and, the Sattler chat and all that sort of stuff. And I remember my first thought was, fuck, James Graham, Josh Jackson, like the Bulldogs, their strength was their forward pack. They were the proper dogs of war, that team. I remember just thinking, they can't do this without Sam. No fucking way. And for him to play out that game in the fashion he did, just so fucking impressive.
Played 80 minutes.
Yeah.
I was at the game. Obviously, I didn't know about it till half time because I turned my phone off during the 40 minutes, and then one of my mates, Andre, texted me. I'll never forget, and I turned to my other mate, Scott, and I'm like, Burgess has a broken cheekbone. Like, this is crazy. And it was a bit of a trend that year. He'd go off at around the 50th minute, and he'd come back on at the 60th minute. He'd have a 10-minute break. No break in the grand final.
No,
and
just pushed.
He'd have a broken cheekbone. Incredible.
Yeah, absolute maniac. Sam Burgess, I think a very, very good shout there. Was he one? Are we only one player in? Yeah. Okay, 2. I'm going to nominate the modern day guy. I just don't think you can ignore Isaiah Yeo.
Yeah.
I think more so for what he's done in clubland. He's obviously been an integral part of that Penrith Panthers side. We've seen now Jerome Luai leave and Fish leave and the influence that they had on that side. I know we always sort of go straight to Nathan Cleary, but mate, Yeo never misses footy, and whenever Cleary's out, the Penrith Panthers seem to be okay, and Yeo just steps up and takes control even more. I think of all the guys we're going to talk about today, I think Yeo is the closest thing to a halfback playing lock.
Yeah.
But just does all the tough stuff. I think the way that he identifies spots in a defensive line, especially back in the ruck, and just generates momentum. Very rarely does Isaiah Yeo make the wrong decision, and they're not highlight plays. He makes the right decision each time to get the team on the front foot.
Yeah.
And I just can't ignore that across half a decade.
Yeah, Yeo was in mine. He was at number 4 purely because I think out of all of them, he's probably the best club player. Like, he's got 4 rings,
Yes.
for God's sakes.
Yep.
But he doesn't really play lock in Origin, and when he does, he's not great.
Yep, that's fair.
So he definitely is in mine though. Like, you just can't ignore what he's done, and he's kind of written his own rules for the position, I guess. Like, it was him and Murray for a while, and him and Carrigan for a while, and Murray, like that. Everyone's kind of dipped in and out for whatever reason. But Yeo has just been that constant guy, and he just keeps winning and winning and winning, and he's such an integral part of that famous Penrith team. So I think Yeo is impossible to leave out.
I think it's a really interesting career for him as well, as far as, like, mate, I remember watching him for the first 6 or 7 years of his career going, he's a handy player to have.
Yeah.
He can cover back row. He can cover centre. He's a great 17 to have on your bench because he can cover a few things. Never in a million years would I have anticipated, and I'm sure everyone will say, oh, you saw it coming. Bullshit.
Yeah.
There is, like, even like Sowie that played with him as a young guy, he says, oh, yeah, we knew he had it in him. Like, based on what we saw at the start of his career, I don't think anyone's come on as much as he have to not just have 1 or 2 seasons that are really good, to be as consistent as he is and do the things that he does so well. It's blown me away.
This is a very specific example, but I remember in 2015 City Country, he got interviewed before the game or in the week leading up, and he talked about like wanting to play Origin one day. I remember thinking, you're never going to play Origin.
You're never going to get there. Yep, no, 100%. And that's, yeah.
To be fair, he wasn't a lock then either, but still, like, I remember thinking, you're not playing Origin. Whereas, like, people like, you know, Cam Murray, for example, the second he debuted, he's like, well, this guy's got State of Origin written all over him. But was just not like that at all. He manufactured the position into his own, and he's won 4 premierships, and he was top 3 integral part of that team.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as much as it's not the be-all and end-all, depending on what position it is and whatnot, Dally M Lock of the Year, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2024.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah, crazy.
Unbelievable stuff. So, yeah, Isaiah Yeo, he's in our top 4. Where he sits, I'm a little bit undecided. I probably had him higher than 4, but I wouldn't have had him at 1, so somewhere in there, somewhere. Who else do you want to nominate?
Now, this guy could be number 1 for most people, Jason Taumalolo. Look, there's an element of bias in my Sam Burgess one, and the element is probably 99%. Like, I'm just going to unashamedly admit that Sam Burgess is my favourite player. He's my number 1. But there's an argument that Taumalolo is the best forward of all time. So he's got
There's an argument there. Yeah. I don't think your Sam Burgess calls, like, if you said to me John Sutton, I'd be like, okay, there's a bit in that, Matty. But Sam Burgess, I think he 100% deserves to be in this 4. I think Taumalolo at his peak, you could argue probably the most damaging of these guys. Obviously won a comp, went to a grand final in 2017. Obviously the back end of his career, he's slowed down a lot. But, you know, I just spoke about Isaiah Yeo. Realistically, before 2020, no one even has him in this conversation. I don't think anyone has him in the conversation of top 10 locks in the game at the time. So it's been a shorter run for Isaiah Yeo. It's just the most recent run. I think the Taumalolo's run as the best lock in the game. Whether he was a prop playing lock, however the fuck you want to look at it, that's up to you. But at the peak of his powers for 5 or 6 years, he was fucking unbelievable. Doing things we haven't seen before.
He won a Dally M. Not a Dally M Lock of the Year. He won a Dally M.
Dally M, yeah.
And is he the only forward to win one?
First forward to win one since Gavin Miller in the 70s.
There you go.
Like, it's insane. It really is insane. He obviously tied that year with Cooper Cronk.
Well, think about it like this for everyone listening. Payne Haas, I believe Payne Haas was the best player this year, but I'm not going to fight back on Tedesco winning the Dally M. He was not 20 points below Tedesco.
Yeah.
Taumalolo tied with, was it Cronk or Hayne maybe?
Cronk.
Yeah, Cronk. Like, he was a halfback and an integral halfback. That's how good that Taumalolo was.
What year was that? What do you reckon? 17?
I think 16.
2016? Yeah. I mean, he's just, the stuff that Jason Taumalolo has achieved in his career. And I know I'm the first one to tell you on the Bloke Show whenever we talk about him, he's slowed down the last few years, but just at his peak, he was just fucking incredible. Debuted in 2010, he's still running around in 2025, and it's not like I'm sitting here going, fuck, I think he's going to retire in 2026. In fact, next year, he's 15 games away from 300. Fuck, I hope he gets it. He should get it.
He should get it.
Because, my God, what an achievement that would be.
And I think as well, he will be remembered. He deserves to be remembered as much as Adi Beatson for Origin as for the international game, for what he did, for his defection. I know it's a bad word, but it wasn't a defection. He was the first stepping stone to what international footy what it is today.
Yeah.
Like, it was huge at the time, and it's even bigger with the benefit of time, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, an enormous call. He was Dally M Lock of the Year 2015, 16 and 18, winning the Dally M Player of the Year, as Matty said, in 2016. An incredible achievement. He is sitting at the table. Now, last one.
Yep.
And for me, this comes down to 2 names. Have you got one in mind or 2?
No, just one.
One. I think I know which one you're going to go for, and it's not a hill I'll die on, but I did prefer someone else slightly. I assume Paul Gallen's yours?
Yeah.
Very fair. He's my 5th one. Very unlucky.
Okay.
Mate, 4 for me. I don't think he gets the accolades he deserves and whatnot, but Ben Kennedy.
Oh, yeah,
I find him very hard to go past. If you want to tell me Ben Kennedy, was more of a back rower than a lock, sure. I can hear those arguments, but him as a lock forward, I just used to fucking love Ben Kennedy. And the game's changed a lot and whatnot, but fuck, I thought he was dominant back in the day.
He was so good. Was he the first big Manly signing when they were doing their big rebuild?
Yes. Yeah, he was the start of the turnaround.
Yeah. Joey talks about Ben Kennedy all the time, about just what a player he was to play with. Like, he was an absolute weapon. Absolute
fucking weapon. Such a good player. And look, once again, you can tell me he was more of a second rower than a lock forward, and I'll take that in 100%. It was just sort of towards the back end of his career, I believe it was, that he started to play as an out-and-out lock forward. But fuck, mate, I think for him, so if you have a look, he played 102 games in the second row, 101 at lock.
Yeah.
Take your pick. He won Dally M Lock of the Year 2005 and 2006. Obviously, if you go and talk to any of those Manly guys that are in that run, a lot of them credit the start of that to Ben Kennedy and the standards that he set. For me, and this is probably nitpicking a little bit, I got a lot of time and respect for Gal. Gal to me was always a prop. He wasn't a lock. He was a prop to me. And granted, you could say the same about Taumalolo. I've said it a few times throughout my career. Ben Kennedy, you could also say he was a second rower, not a lock. I just think that Ben Kennedy, I don't know, if I was building a team tomorrow and I had to pick one of them, personally, I would go Ben Kennedy.
Another good thing about Kennedy was he probably should have won the Clive in 01.
I think a bit of narrative. Joey, I think, was second best on the field, but I think Kennedy was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he scored every game that final series as well.
Mate, if you have a look at that, and granted, once again, he was playing in the back row for that, but if you go back to that 2001 season, he played 29 games. He scored 17 tries, and you're right, he scored a try in every single one of the finals games. In the prelim final against the Sharkies, only scored 3 tries. He scored 2 of them.
I used to have the 2001 grand final on a VCR.
Yeah,
recording tape. I've watched it a million times, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah. So personally, I would go Ben Kennedy slightly, but it's not a hill that I'll die on. Personally, I think Paul Gallen, when I look back at the best football he played in his career, I think it was in Origin when he played in the front row and you just simplified his role. I felt like as a lock sometimes, he could overplay his hand and get in the way a little bit to some extent.
Yeah, I just think he played like almost 2 decades.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
They're both great options. I can't go past Gal personally. Not that passionate about it, so I could be veered either way, but he just did it for so long.
Yeah, very fair.
In the middle of the field, it was just ridiculous.
Before we settle that debate, I think the other guy that I would like to give a little shout out to, who I couldn't have in there, but not far away, and he did it a little bit differently to all these other guys, Glenn Stewart.
Yes.
As a 13. He's more the 13 that I would like to go for, a bit of a ball player, a bit of a second sort of 5'8" kind of role. I just love the way that Gifty went, like the nickname Gifty.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, when you're putting kicks inside your own 20 in a grand final, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
He was special.
Player.
He was a special player.
All right, before we settle the Kennedy-Gallen argument, which I probably think I'm going to fall in my sword because I can see it happening in the YouTube comments, who are the current players today?
Oh, there's a very obvious one, Cameron Murray.
Yeah.
He needs to win a comp with South, I reckon, and he did everything he could in 2021, and I reckon he got let down at the end when he made that line break and there was no support there, and that'll haunt me forever.
Yeah.
People forget about that one. Like, don't worry about the Reynolds missed kick. Like, that's a kick from the sideline. That's not easy. Plus, he had an injury. Don't worry about the missed field goal. Like, that's desperate stuff. Cam Murray made a break with a minute to go and no one supported him. And people just forget about it.
Yeah.
And that would have been him. It was out of him and Cody Walker to get the Clive.
Yep.
So I genuinely think that no one likes South Sydney more than Cam Murray. And I don't think, unless things get really bad, he probably won't leave without trying to get that premiership. But yeah, I think if he gets it, he's already one of the best Origin locks. Like, he's so important for the Origin team. His record for Australia, like, he scored like 7 games in a row or something. Like, he's just an unbelievable player. I reckon he's a chance of getting on that list.
Yeah, I reckon he's a very good chance to break into it. I've said a few times, I think he's the closest thing to Bradley Clyde we've seen since Bradley Clyde. I think eventually he will be on this list, to be honest with you. The other one, mate, and I would have said this 2 weeks ago, not just because of the grand final, but I think Pat Carrigan, the potential he's got is enormous as well. He's another one that I think will be future captain of Queensland, depending on how it all lines up. Wouldn't shock me if he's a captain of Australia in the future. I think Paddy Carrigan's another one that's got an enormous future. Mate, one that I would have said 4 or 5 years ago that I think he's on his way to doing it is Victor Radley.
Yeah.
But it's just played out in a weird fucking fashion
Definitely.
for Rads. Playing on the back row, concussions, all that sort of stuff. Have hindered him pretty heavily. Probably back then, Gerbo would have been another one.
Yep.
That hasn't really played out the way we thought as well. So I think Cam Murray and Pat Carrigan, they're probably the two main ones.
And like this guy doesn't play anymore, but like someone like Simon Mannering.
Yeah.
Like he played, did he play 300 games? Probably.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
for the
Mannering
Warriors.
got the
He
300.
just deserves a mention.
Yeah, that's a very good shout. Mannering was a cracker. I think there's been a lot of other guys throughout the years, like Tony Carroll was a great fucking lock forward. I used to love watching him go about his stuff. Probably didn't get the accolades and the respect that he deserved, but like a guy like Jeremy Smith.
Yeah.
So good for so long.
Yeah.
Luke Ricketson, another one that comes to mind. Yeah, there's been some absolute crackers over the years. You know what? I think you might have you're right. Like a lot of these guys, I've leaned towards the longevity of their careers that matters. So I guess with Gal, I can't suddenly go against that now. He obviously played a lot more footy than that of Ben Kennedy for a longer time. So
He played 150 more games.
150 more, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, won a comp. Yeah. Let's go Gal. So we have got number 1, Sam Burgess.
Yep.
Number 2, Taumalolo or Yo? Sorry, I've got Gallen at 4. Where do you?
Gal can be at 4.
Gal 4?
I think Taumalolo would be my number 2.
So Burgess, Taumalolo, Yo, and then Gallen.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, and then that leaves. Would you agree Ben Kennedy's the unluckiest one there, or have I just got a bit of a man crush?
No. I'll give you Ben Kennedy. It's just like I'm just looking at. So Ben Kennedy played 109 games at lock? Did you say?
Yeah.
Like Gal played 280 games at lock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a landslide then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially based on the criteria I've used throughout this series.
Yeah.
Definitely have to go Gal then. Fuck, that's 4 good footballers.
Yeah.
4 guys you could build not only a forward pack but just an entire squad around there.
And like Cam Murray is knocking on that door.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, right up there, the best of them. So then we've got Ben Kennedy, Glenn Stewart as probably the unlucky guys to miss out.
Stewart, yeah.
So who else was a very good lock? Corey Parker.
Yep.
For a long, long time. A very, very good player, Corey Parker. All right, so Burgess, Taumalolo, Yo, Paul Gallen, the 4 sitting at the lock forward table with Ben Kennedy just missing out there in the 5th place with Cam Murray, the one beating down the door to join that table heading into the future. Positions all done and dusted. We've got coach to come in our next episode, and that'll be Red Rover for us. Unreal, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
This has been great.
Looks like you're about to pass out on me.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired.
Mad. All right. Thanks for joining us on the Rugby League Guru Podcast.
Oh, jeez.